back to the channel. I am here with my good friend, the Simple Man, Noah Foster. How are you doing, Noah?
Yes, the other boss. I'm doing very well, Ash. Good to see you once again. I remember being on your inaugural video here at Bag for Wrestling, talking about New Japan, and now we're back here, and that may become more of a monthly or special standard. So it's an absolute pleasure to be back here on your forum once again, talking New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yes, we are here to discuss the upcoming Destruction in Kobe show that is on the 28th
Like
of this month.
this coming
Okay,
Sunday.
cool. All right, nice. Man, I am getting my days and nights mixed up. So I'm like, what's on what day anymore?
But a Japanese time versus Eastern Standard Time makes it confusing enough considering this weekend we're going to be bombarded with madness thanks to your idea to JJ. Hello, JJ. Canadian karaoke while I'm going to be ignoring most of that watching New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. I will be able to join you guys. I'm debating on whether or not to sing, but don't worry, I will be sending in, as per tradition, the Canadian dollar super chat, like for old time's sake.
Fair enough. Wouldn't expect anything less from you. I'm not going to say too bad to that, so we'll see what happens. But regardless, that's Canada. This is Japan, and I'm looking forward to starting this new adventure with you and seeing how far I can tag alongside with you. But again, I hope this also encourages you to share your passion, your knowledge, your outlook towards what you love, because you do bring a lot of fun insight, my friend. And I do
Yes,
enjoy hearing your takes on New Japan. It's a very rare thing on YouTube to actually hear that outside Sona's ladder myself.
right. So, should we start off with the opening match for the Destruction show?
Makes sense to me.
All right. So, first up, we have is the trios match between Shota Umino, Uya Uemura, Yoshihashi, and the team of House of Torture, being represented by Evil, Sonata, and Dick Togo.
That last name always just runs a curve up my spine. The definition of it, not going there. Well, considering again we are entering the final quarter of the year, you got to consider the tours coming out even after King of Pro Wrestling and even out of Power Struggle, which is usually the November special before the Road to Tokyo Dome. We got the tag leagues coming up, the Best Super Juniors Tag League, and of course the World Tag League. You're looking at Sonata and Evo from a different light, as well as Namaste Hapong. They are multiple time World Tag League champions. Meanwhile, you have Shota Umino and Uyamera that have kind of formed this unique duo at times that we've seen work quite well together and are kind of a couple of leaders in this generation, the new generation of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Of course, we saw the Heat Storm and the Roughnecks run during the G1. Incredible stuff throughout. So I look at more towards that, which makes me wonder what's next for Yoshihashi, since record saying World Tag League champs Bishamon. I don't even know if they're going to be involved because we don't know when Roki Go is going to come back. But I look at this as more so a way for Uyemura and Shota Umino to strengthen themselves as a tag team. But maybe this is a different way for Eva and Sonata to finally try and garner some more respect and try and take more power in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
It is very possible, and this is a good precursor into what's to come for the World Tag League, as you were mentioning, because we haven't seen like Uemura and Umino team up together as much until recently, whereas Sonata and Evil have that history as a tag team because they used to be the tag team for LIJ.
Yep. Los Ganonamete Hapong, and I believe they are a 3-time or 2-time World Tag League champions. And each time they won the World Tag League, it culminated in gold in the Tokyo Dome.
True, and if Evil and Sonata are in the tag league, they might be a team to look out for, especially with the past history they have as not just winning in, but as for tag runs as well.
Yeah, and I'm sure that Uyemura, who of course derailed Eva, I'm sure Eva didn't forget that. And there's also as Eva's reset since losing out to the G1 Climax inevitable champion Kanoza Takeshita. So Sonata and Evo, of course, who shared a match together, and Sonata to get better of Evo. I almost wonder if Evo, that's stuck in his crawl a little bit, is Sonata truly House of Torture or what? Because Sonata, he's the biggest abnormality of House of Torture to me. I mean, from the theme to his style, good Lord, what does it look like? This is going to be a weird trios match to say the least. So I'm curious, though, again, the team outlook, particularly of Shota Umino and Uyemura, how strong has it really grown in the short time?
Absolutely, and with the Sonata being sneaky as he is, who's to say he's not going to try to do some sneakiness on Evil as they're teaming as well, given what's happening in from the G1, even though it is just tournament and business, right?
Right.
Sonata can be a very spiteful person, as he's been jumping from faction to faction as of late, especially this year alone.
Good lord. Just five. No, just four. No. Merging the Hontai. Did Blue Club War Dog. No. Did House of Torture. What's it gonna jump to next? Unaffiliated?
I mean, it's possible if they can make amends, maybe. But the thing is, would they want him back?
Yeah, that's a whole different conversation.
Right.
I wouldn't know how to. I wouldn't know how to answer that personally.
Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting match and gives an idea of that's what this is. It's gonna give us an idea of what to look forward to for those World Tag Leagues, and I think that's in November.
Usually those are in November, I believe. But again, with the fact we've changed so much from tradition, I honestly wonder what is ahead besides historic crossover 3, which I'm also looking forward to. So again, I don't know that big much schedule for the
Right.
fall season as the fall just began. So we'll have to wait and see. But I would figure the World Tag League would have to be some point before Power Struggle of not culminating at it.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of scheduling, we got our President Ace Hiroshi Tanahashi facing up with Great Okan.
Oh hell. Dominator.
I don't know the story for this match. To me, this is like an interesting pair. I was like, because this is coming right off the heels of the G1, right?
Correct, basically.
So this is just the G1 rematch, and as Tanahashi's going on his farewell tour, or
It almost feels like to me that Great Okan is still trying to find himself and figure something out. You consider that they lost the heavyweight tag team championships, and to your point, he lost out on the G1, but arguably had the best match that he could ever bring against the likes of Zack Sabre Jr., for example, pushed that WGP heavyweight champion to his absolute limit. It's also one of those things that the first time we saw the ace Hiroshi Tanahashi face Great Okan, oh hell, was Wrestle Kingdom 15 when he wanted to take something at the expense of the Ace's name and lost. He got a follow-up chance the following month and he lost in Osaka. So this is one of those times where literally it's his last chance to beat the Ace in New Japan, despite the fact he's the president of the company, and maybe try and find himself his own reset. You think about Great Okan, his 23 different disciplines, and like, what's the biggest focus for him besides bringing the scope of his wrestling beyond New Japan Pro Wrestling to other areas, whether it was King of Pro Wrestling, whether it was NJPW World Television Champion, etc. Of course, Taos, he also lost as well. To your point, Tanahashi has found a kinship. I mean, he already has gone through most recently Toru Yano, Uji Nagata, and of course, he lost out on the G1 climax. But I feel like for Great Okan, it's one of those things like bringing Shota Umino back to that in the second chapter back at Sakura Genesis when the Ace took on the Roughneck. I think Great Okan is trying to literally see if Hiroshi Tanahashi can get him out of his funk. And a victory over the Ace, by any means, I feel like, would definitely help boost Great Okan's morale and maybe his chances being involved in something major to come ahead at King of Pro Wrestling or even one of the tours.
Yeah, absolutely. Because a win over one of the most decorated New Japan wrestlers in Tanahashi will do such wonders for Great Okan, who's is like not only trying to figure himself out, but has a lot of infighting dealing with a not so united empire.
What empire? That's another thing. I honestly don't know if Great Okan believes that the empire is even able to rebuild its foundation at this point. It's kind of in rubble.
Right? It's like who's all left in United Empire? You got Okan, TJP, Akira,
Kyle Newman. And Kyle Newman and Great Okan were former IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions before they lost those titles to, of course, Taiji and Hiromu Hiroshi.
Do you think that Okan is just like, do you think him and Newman are going to be a team again? Or is it just like Okan just trying to figure himself out, like trying to prove himself that he has what it takes to lead the United Empire? Because right now they are without direction. They are without a leader.
Yeah. Even though the captain says Divided we stand, united we conquer, or something like that. And to your point, TJP is the only one right now that is a champion for that. Francisco Akira out injured. I don't know, but it might be a better avenue for Great Khan heading into the fall season and trying to find a way to Tokyo Dome. I mean, he was the one that ushered in the KLPW retirement into that New Japan Ramble, where the winner did get the IWGP Heavyweight title shot, and we saw it happen in Osaka. Goto
Yeah.
won. It was Great Khan that was the catalyst to that. So you almost wonder if Great Khan feels he's old for that, or should he exploit the opportunity that he actually created for himself. But before then, he definitely needs to find some sort of momentum right now, because it's been a really rough going for not just United Empire to your point, but the Dominator.
Mm-hmm. Do you think he could probably try to put his way back into the never open weight title match or title picture?
Well, it's always one of those things in New Japan where your token is what carries you forward or breaks you. And a title that literally is defined by those 5 letters that nearly killed Toa Hinare. I could definitely see Great Khan maybe pursuing that. He has yet to be the never overweight champion. So that could be an avenue for him to pursue, if nothing else, based on who's holding the title, of course.
Right. Speaking of, next match we have is the never open weight title match between Bolton Oleg and Don Fale in what is a New Japan rematch of sorts. Is it not like the New Japan Cup? Because then these two have a match with each other.
That's right. That was their only one-on-one match. And of course, Bolton Oleg, the monster from Kazakhstan, he won that night. But we also saw Don Fale, who's now part of House of Torture since then, get his revenge when he caused Bolton Oleg, of course, his G1 chances heavily after helping Evil win that match in Corrigan Hall. Since then, Bolton Oleg and Don Fale have been at each other's throats, two of the biggest, heaviest hitters on the New Japan roster. It's also very interesting considering that Don Fale, in a former life, Bad Luck Fale, is a former IWGP Intercontinental Champion. Heck, he won the title from Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm just freaking saying. He also, of course, been in the ring with Kazuchika Okada at one point, challenging for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship version 4. But this is also his first singles match, I believe, in several years for a title. So I just don't know if Don Fale can carry forward the rough factor that has become the Neverweight Championship, even beyond our first defense if he was to win it. So it almost feels like a foregone conclusion that I think Bolton Oleg is going to exert his dominance over Don Fale. And I think he's going to do everything he can to hold on to it. But we also know that the House of Torture are no strangers to betraying the identity of the sport of professional wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling with shenanigans, gimmicks, and the numbers game galore. So I'm a little bit concerned about this one, considering how often the Neverweight Championship does change hands, but I'm holding out that bull and like make sure that title doesn't fall to darkness.
Right. Because if Bolton Oleg can overcome Fale once, who's to say he can't do it again, even with the numbers advantage of House of Torture? Because when you're facing House of Torture, it's never one-on-one.
No.
Unless outside forces come in and help, as we saw in the G1 final. But other than that, yeah, I don't see Bolton Oleg losing this title anytime soon. I think like the earliest I see him losing it is at Power Struggle. But then again, who that opponent may be, it's really up in the air at this point.
Exactly. And we got King of Pro Wrestling, which could also give us an idea, if not beforehand, that night as well.
Right. Up next we have is the IWGP heavyweight tag team match between Tomohiro Ishii and Taichi, the current champions, as they go up against newcomers Yuto Ice and Oscar, who made their return at the G1 finals.
Yeah, this wasn't on my bucket list to see those two show up, let alone be Bullet Club War Dogs. But you want to find opposition to the oldest tenure tag team champions now in IWGP New Japan Pro Wrestling history. That's a hell of a duo called the Knockout Boys, who's already knocked down and knocked out Tomoshi E and Taiji at Pegging, Corrigan Hall in preview tag match. But it's also one of those things that we haven't seen Ishii involved in New Japan for quite a while since he's been fighting in AEW, or excuse me, conglomerating in AEW, giving us some bangers there. But again, it is one of those things where, again, both Tomoshi and Taiji, they are accomplished tag team specialists. This is the knockout, not whatever you want to call the team. These are these two gentlemen that actually can pretty much hold themselves in the ring, it seems. It's coming from Excursion. that are going into their first chance, and it could be make or break for them. Honestly, I would not rule out the Holy Emperor and the Stone Pit Bull by any means.
Right, and this was especially like the way you want to talk about making a statement. What better way than to assert your dominance as a tag team by taking out the top tag team in your company?
Yeah, the definition of the old guard is being pushed to the wayside by the new generation and David Finley's weapon. Of course, the MO Bullet Club War Dogs. If you can't bring gold, bring bodies. Lord knows Taiji and Tomoji have been brought for the ringer their entire careers, including through what could have been Taiji's last G1 climax for all we know.
Mhm.
So this is one of those matches where, again, I'm intrigued by, but I don't know if I see a title change. Then again, I honestly don't see Taiji and Tomoshi doing anything else for the time being. It's not the first time I've seen Taiji also enter in to the Tokyo Dome as IWGP Tag Team Champion either.
No, he's no stranger for that either. Especially is Tomohiro Ishii still the New Japan Strong Never Openweight champion, or did he lose that title?
No, he still has that as well, and that's only being defended, of course, at America shows. I imagine the next one's going to be Lone Star Shootout or Spirit Strong Evolve, which always closes the year. And he hasn't defended that title since the last American show, which I believe was a surgeon against Drew Maloney successfully. But no, he is still the strong weight champion.
Do you think if like, even if like say Oscar and Yuto they don't win, do you think one of them could possibly eventually challenge Ishii for those titles?
I don't see why not. Again, all you gotta do is buck up to the Stone Pit Bull. Lord knows he doesn't back down from a fight. When you render literally dead for 10 minutes and believe that you're fighting every day like it's the last day and the last fight of your life, there's no stopping the Stone Pit Bull that's still as freaking prideful as ever to refuse help. I would not rule it out one bit, especially since I believe it was Asuka that literally knocked him out in Corrigan Hall. You know she's looking for a receipt.
Oh, absolutely. So that would could be for like a bigger never open weight title match. And who knows? They might like slug it out even too. Even if they win the tag titles, I don't see them changing hands. But this is a good introduction for someone who's never seen these two tag teams before, like these, especially like Yuto, Ice, and Oscar.
Right. Again, make or break, War Dogs.
Right.
Good grief.
Next up, we have is Hiromu Takahashi versus Taiji Ishimori. Oh, this is gonna be a fun match, isn't it?
Fight forever. The definition of these two, not to mention Hiromu Takahashi, the current new GHC Junior Heavyweight Champion, a title that is the most notorious with Bone Soldier Taiji Ishimori, even though Hiromu's going to defend that against Ita in Pro Wrestling Noah. And of course, Taiji and Hiromu have traded freaking Best Super Juniors finals. Of course, we know Hiromu won those. We've also seen, of course, Taiji beat Hiromu at times for the title. Hiromu beating the title back from Taiji Mori, even at Wrestle Kingdom. Even if he didn't necessarily pin the champion, he's gotten the better of him on multiple occasions. But it is one of those fans looking at also Bullet Club War Dog, unaffiliated. And that's kind of been the story of what used to be those factions, Los Hernables de Japón. But yeah, this is one of those fans we're looking at two aces of the junior heavyweight division. Not to mention, as we are recording this on September 23rd, tomorrow we could have a brand new junior heavyweight champion if freaking Yo and his bizarreness drives him to beat El Desperado for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. That's being defended in Hokkaido literally tomorrow morning. Well, you all probably will see this beyond that because it's being recorded, but that's literally being defended prior to this show, so that's another thing to put in perspective. And honestly, El Desperado and Hiromu Takahashi, they are probably the aces of the heavyweight division that want to push this title to the main event scene. There's a reason why these two have fought each other now 2 straight years in some capacity over this title, including one-on-one. But I look at this match and I think about it like this. Taiji, he loco. Hiromu, he wants molto. He wants more and more and more fun. But I do wonder where his fun is lined up in this war battle line in the sand drawn with the Bullet Club War Dogs, focusing on the GHC Junior Heavyweight Championship, expanding the outlook of junior heavyweights as main eventers, or just getting another one up on probably his greatest rival since El Desperado. This match could truly go either way.
Yeah, that's what I went into this match thinking that the winner of this match could possibly move on to face off whoever the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion is, whether it be Desperado or Yo in this case, because all four of them have history with one another.
Oh yeah, and a lot of it.
And there's also another thing they got to take into consideration too. Is say Taiji Ishimori does beat Hiromu, does that earn him a chance for him to face off against for his GHC Junior Heavyweight title?
I wouldn't rule it out. Honestly, I wouldn't rule out Taiji or Hiromu possibly holding both junior heavyweight championships across Pro Wrestling Noah and New Japan Pro Wrestling and building some sort of interpromotional multi-person match, maybe at Wrestle Kingdom or Noah New Year. That would be an interesting way to bridge these two shows, even though we've already gone, all together, and the historic crossover is focused on New Japan and Stardom. I'm just saying, don't rule out Hiromu and Taiji holding gold in both Noah and New Japan by January 4th next year.
Right. And there's a possibility too, since these two know each other so well. Who's to say it doesn't it goes to a time limit draw, possibly, especially with like how batshit insane both of them are.
That's putting it politely. God, you said it, not me. Friggin' try and break each other's backs. Friggin' Time Bomb 2, Dynamite Plunger, friggin' Bone Lock. And again, they've traded wins, they traded losses. And Taishimori right now, it's one of those things he might be saying pays for the War Dogs against the unaffiliated, which is kind of becoming a story of fall, it seems.
Bringing gold and bodies.
Right? Why he has to get ready to face a rogue AI soon enough.
Right. Speaking of bringing golden bodies, we got David Finlay versus Yota Tsuji, a rematch of sorts, but without the global title involved.
Yeah, it's also a rematch from the G1. Why don't you go ahead and further talk about this first? Because I know you know more about these two.
Like these two, like they've gone on had like quite the history, especially putting that global heavyweight title on the map, making it like New Japan's secondary title, like bringing so much importance to that title.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like it brings back a level of importance to the same shades of the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. And I think that's the whole purpose why they brought this title back, quote unquote, white strap. But yeah, I mean, Yota Tsuji, David Finlay, I feel like when these two wrestle each other, they push each other to their absolute best and maybe worse. I think David Finlay even says, every time I fight you, you push me to prove how strong I really am or how much stronger I need to be. To your point, we saw Yota Tsuji beat David Finlay for this title at Wrestle Kingdom, even though he lost it to a person we'll talk about here a little later. And during the G1, David Finlay got his win back over Yota Tsuji when he stopped him from moving forward in the G1 climax and, of course, punched his ticket to the semifinals. Also overcoming last year's loss to Yota Tsuji did David Finlay when David Finlay was in the semis and lost out to Gene Blast. Now we find Gene Blast here in a one-on-one scenario against arguably his toughest opponent here in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And there's no doubt that both these men are going to be out to prove a point. You think about these men that do not follow the company line. They do things their own way. They take their opportunities on their own merit. Again, this is another one of those matches where you could toss a coin 50-50 to prove how far and how dangerous these two are willing to go with each other with a smile and a ridiculously hard-hitting battle.
Right. And who's to say? Maybe the winner of this match also could play an effect into our next match for that global heavyweight title. Because who's to say if like whoever doesn't win this, they'd probably want to go because both men want that title back.
I wouldn't rule it out, honestly. It's surprising that David Finlay had to confront his War Dog kid for it.
Right, because it could add some tension to the Bullet Club War Dogs, especially with Gabe Kidd not being around New Japan, which his opponent has to say a lot to say about that. We got the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship, Gabe Kidd defending against Shingo Takagi.
Okay, you go ahead and talk about this one first, because I think it's only fitting that you talk more about this one first, because you already know where I stand with this.
Oh my god, I love the shit talking Shingo did to Gabe Kidd about how it's misfortunate that his injury had to take him out of the G1, and then instead of returning back to New Japan while he's healed up, he had priorities and helping with the Death Riders doing whatever they were doing in AEW. And oh my God, did Shingo had a lot to say about that, saying like how because he went to do AEW things first, he does not deserve that title.
This match is a level of pride unlike what I've seen in a long time. You think about what Gabe Kidd says when he's Senior Pro Wrestler, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Ichiban #1, New Japan, the best damn wrestling on the planet. Fuck AEW, blank, 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 blank.
Mhm.
Here he is, the mercenary of John Moxley, who might say FAW at a certain degree, but arguably has been AEW's top worker of the year, to say the least. He's always been the influencer, but that's a different conversation another day.
Yeah.
But it is one of those fans that Shingo Takagi, he doesn't have like a family. He doesn't have a team, a faction. All he has is New Japan. All he has is wrestling. He bet the bet on himself against Hiroki Goto back at Dominion for the IWGP Championship. Now he finds himself against Gabe Kidd, where he feels Gabe Kidd, you don't care about New Japan like I do, so I'm going to take this title from you because you don't deserve it. Talk about putting a young boy in their place, or trying to, like he's been trying to put Shota Umino in his place, while Shota Umino's been trying to make something out of his name, and so far has failed miserably this year. But now we got Gabe Kidd versus Shingo Takagi in an all-out war where, again, Shingo has not beaten Gabe Kidd. Let's keep that in mind. He got a forfeit because Gabe Kidd got injured, to your point. And now we're finally going to see if Shingo can get one up on Gabe Kidd for the first time and become the global heavyweight champion. But we saw how hard the man that literally was fighting to keep his life, let alone his sanity, he's a madman, you know, to get this title, to be a champion under IWGP. We saw how far and how hard he was willing to go against Yota Tsuji, and how much it meant to him to push himself to bring the best out of the ace to prove that he deserves to hold this championship. He's even said that what you did, I will carry forward. Your body may waver, but your spirit will carry on, but I will carry on what you can't physically. That's the whole point of Gabe Kidd versus Tanahashi's relationship. It's about spirit, fighting spirit. There's a reason why the man cried January 5th. But yeah, Shingo Takagi, he has been a very angry, furious wrestler this year, particularly. And I do wonder if he's more angry at himself, or is he more angry at where New Japan stands without him holding a championship? Because I almost feel like Shingo Takagi is his own worst enemy when it comes to that self-pride. And he's not a young boy anymore himself. He is a long-10 veteran of the business, and he's also a long-10 heavyweight of New Japan Pro Wrestling that's had rough ups and downs since losing the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. And of course, he lost the Network Championship to Konosuke Takeshita, let's not forget, at the beginning of the year. Not to mention, lost out to the inevitable G1 Climax champion Konosuke during the G1. It has not been the year of the Dragon. So I really feel like for Shingo, maybe he sees Gabe Kidd as somebody that could push the best and the worst out of him in a battle that's going to be pride and probably covered in blood. This is a dangerous fight, to say the least.
Right? Because he can make the argument that both Shingo Takagi and Gabe Kidd are both the embodiment of what it means to be a New Japan Pro Wrestling wrestler that embodies the fighting strong style spirit.
Exactly.
It's just,
this is going to be a fight. I just can't wait to see these two
absolutely.
each other.
This is going to be a colossal slugfest, like almost akin to the bouts we've been seeing with the never open weight title as of recently.
Hey, when you're fighting Gabe Kidd, there's a reason why he says, come at me with all your Tokan. I'm just saying, that spirit is going to be raging out of both men.
Exactly. There's a reason why Gabe Kidd's called a mad lad, right?
I'm a madman, you know.
Exactly. And finally, we have the IWGP heavyweight title IWGP heavyweight title currently being held by Zack Sabre Jr. as he defends against Ren Narita.
Talk about it. Preview.
These have just been going at it.
That's they've
been fighting each other backstage. It's just like these two are going to hurt each other. Like, we're not going to be watching the match. We're going to be watching the fight here.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be Bloody Tecker is only involved here in this battle with two long-standing rivals, to say the least.
Right, especially because it was Ren Narita who was Zack Sabre Jr. defeated to become the inaugural New Japan World Television Champion, and And oh my God, what a freaking run he went on.
1 year long, 15 defenses.
Right? It is crazy. Like Zach set a way too high standard for that New Japan World TV title that I don't think has been reached yet.
No.
Because, man, you want to hear about a rant? Oh my God, what the hell are they doing with that title? Like, what are they doing with it?
Phantasmo is waiting on someone to challenge him. I think he even pointed that on a commentary. It's like, I'm not on the card, but hey, I'm commentating with you. I think ELP's even kind of bored right now, waiting for somebody to oppose him. And ironically enough, the person he took the title from, Great Old Khan.
Why are they not running back that feud or like have like it's do something with the title, please?
But anyway, they're gonna definitely do something with this championship, considering the implications of pro wrestling. So please continue.
Yeah, it's like these two like know each other so well, and I'm surprised like Ren Narita getting a victory over Zach in the G1 clean too, using like his own style of wrestling against him as well, even though it was like in dirty he has a torture fashion as well, and that was quite the upset, which is why we have this match here.
Yeah, I hate to admit it, but Ren Narita might be Zack Sabre Jr.'s toughest rival right now to deal with because of their technical background. Ren Narita actually employs it. To your point, that freaking Hell's Guillotine was the undoing of Zack Sabre Jr., not to mention the absolute dissection of his leg that Ren Narita has continued to exploit. Now, truth be told, Zack Sabre Jr. has been trying to break Ren Narita's ankle, including dragging him out of the G1 Climax final to make sure he didn't get involved in that decision. But yeah, these two have been at each other's throats since I can last remember, even before when they were going after the inaugural NJPW World Television Championship. And Ren Narita was simply put the son of strong style. Hell, he went to Castle Bar to become stronger to try and see if he could upset Zack Sabre Jr., and he fell back then. He hasn't been able to beat Zack Sabre Jr. until he joined House of Torture and went to dubious means to do so, but he also has relied on that amateur wrestling. So taking out the stupidity aside of the House of Torture getting involved here, and we all know that a push-up bar is going to get involved here, if not a person. It is one of those things that Zack Sabre Jr. may want to tread cautiously, knowing that Ren Narita could absolutely surprise him. If we focus on Ren Narita for too much House of Torture nonsense and not his wrestling capability, then Zack Sabre Jr. could be caught off guard and could literally lose that championship just like that. Ren Narita has nobody to take lightly.
No, not at all. Especially like as he's proven in this year's G1 alone, it hasn't he?
I'm surprised at his score. He honestly had me worried that he's going to make it towards the finals. Jesus.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about House of Torture. Like most of them can wrestle, but because they're the heels, they have to they rely too heavily and fall back on these tropes of like these sneaky number game tactics.
Yeah, some more than others. Evil, the biggest offender. Ren Narita actually mostly wrestled his G1, even if a push-up bar came into play. But we also saw Kanemaru coming involved here. And again, Ash, the bigger story here, cause and effect. Remember, the winner of this match has the Alpha, Kenosu Takeshita, waiting for them. And we're going to go to Sumo Hall next month at King of Pro Wrestling. You might want to put that in perspective, considering Zack Sabre Jr. and the Alpha have also shared a victory and a loss.
Yeah, they're like tied 1-1 each, right?
Correct. It's a rubber if Zack Sabre Jr. makes it through this coming Sunday morning.
Yeah, I don't think Ren Narita is going to win the title off of Zach, but they did do a good job of making him look like an opposable threat to Zach with these like, even if it is like through these dirty underhanded tactics as well, which is the House of Torture is known for doing.
Right, making sure Zack Sabre Jr. comes in here at less than 100%, fueled on rage, can likely make a mistake, etc. Not to mention, Kenosu Takeshita, he got obliterated on his knees during that time against Ren Narita. And truth be told, the Alpha, who wants to unify the world of professional wrestling, the strongest across professional wrestling altogether, he's still putting in the work wherever we go. We just saw what happened, of course, at AEW All Out, but I don't think he's taking his eyes off the fact that the Attitude World Heavyweight Championship could still be in his future.
Yeah, it's interesting, like for Takeshita calling his shot at King of Pro Wrestling as early as he did, because that's the type of because most people, with the exception of Zach, call their shot at the Tokyo Dome.
Zack was the first one to break tradition last year. Now we're doing it 2 years in a row. It really makes me wonder again, how do you set up that main event in the Tokyo Dome for that IWGP Championship with the same type of importance in principle? You probably saw a note I remember during Shenanigans, just to segue real quick, talking about a 40-minute match with Kyle Fletcher and him and Adam Page. Incredible match, by the way. But
Mhm.
you figure about Zack Sabre Jr. and Shota Umino, that was even longer than that at literally this past Wrestle Kingdom. We watched it and we were kind of
Yeah.
underwhelmed. Different matches, different hindsights, different perspectives, different potential exploited and tested. But still, you do wonder if you have someone ready for that spotlight where you don't have to go all out in a
Mhm.
match that long and still bring forth a point. Because Shota Umino took a long time to recover after that loss to Zack Sabre Jr. It literally involved him cutting his hair and resetting from ground zero to come back into the grace and respect of the New Japan fans. And I do think Zack Sabre Jr. also has a chip on his shoulder ever since losing that title to Hiroki Gold after having such a upstart in his first run and being kind of the champion of the people. Now he's just out to prove that he's the best damn professional wrestler on the planet. And Ren Narita could literally undo all that.
It is very possible. And for going back to the Zack Sabre Jr. Umino match we had at Wrestle Kingdom, it did not feel like it went that long, actually. It just went by
Right?
real fast.
Right? It's crazy. But yeah, and again, the whole idea of Alpha, Zack Sabre Jr. 3 kind of clamoring for that more for King of Pro Wrestling. So I do
Mhm.
think that Zach's going to find a way to retain. Again, Ren Narita is one of those where you look at the new generation and we talk about all these new generation of people. Who's going to be the first, the new generation to hold the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship? Ren Narita, Shota Umino, Uda Amera, Yoda Tsuji. It's got to be one of those four men, but Ren Narita's having his chance here. I don't think it's his time.
Right. They got a lot of time to prove it, each other. And it is like, oh, those names you mentioned, they are still figuring themselves out. I think, well, except for Uemura, he's the only one who's found himself because the Renaritas. And yeah, I think you can make the argument that Ren Narita has found himself too, but he just had to go to the dark side to do so.
What do you think about Yoda Suji, though, to that point? Even though he's unaffiliated, I mean, he's actually had more opportunities and has taken more opportunities for himself than I think any of those other men, honestly. Remember, he came in to challenge Sonata at Dominion for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship by spearing him out of his boots with a Gene Blast.
Right, just right out the gate, and also his the global heavyweight title run.
Exactly. AKA Continental, workhorse, just saying, potential. So, I do think that there is a great potential in New Japan, and I do love the fact that New Japan, like some companies, are actually leading on the new generation.
Right? Because I hear a lot of people say like about New Japan's in a bad spot. Yeah, they're in a bad spot financially, but you look at what they're doing right now with their new and up and their new batch of talents. They have a heavy focus on the newer talent.
Exactly.
It's just like they're focusing on the new while not forgetting about the old, especially with how they were pushing Hiroki Goto as like a for as like for his first ever IWGP heavyweight title run.
Honestly, I don't think that IWGP World Heavyweight Championship was held in a stronger regard since Hiroki Goto than maybe Kazuchika Okada.
Mhm. Right, the run Goto went on was just it was a solid. You look at the caliber of people he was defending against and how many defenses he's had, especially in that short amount of time that unfortunately got cut short due to injury, was just amazing.
Yeah, and again, to also put it out there, Sonata, who still holds, I believe, the record for the longest run with that title. Not to mention, I believe the most defenses. It's amazing how much Goto breathed new life in New Japan as the champion while holding that title and pushing that title and himself and the opponents to the limits, whether they were previous rivals of the old guard or challenging the new guard. Because I really do feel like for a little while, New Japan's been a battle of the old generation versus the new generation. And the new generation has really stepped forward here to lead New Japan Pro Wrestling, I believe, in the future. And Wrestle Kingdom was a stepping stone to prove that. And with people like Zack Sabre Jr. still heavily in play right now, testing that guard particularly, I do think New Japan is in a better light with the outlook of who could be those next top guys to lead New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's just a matter of who's ready to take that step forward. And right now, as long as Cedric Jr. is holding the title, none of those dickheads are going to be able to do that, in my opinion. And I wouldn't
Right.
count Goto coming back either to go after Zach again or go after that title again, because I don't think Goto was ready to let up on that run, to your point, anytime soon.
Oh, absolutely. When Goto comes back, he's going to want that title, whether it be Takeshita or Zach. Because even if, like, say for a off chance, Takeshita, I know we're getting a little too ahead of ourselves here, but say Takeshita does get that title, who wouldn't say Takeshita versus Goto would slap? Like, that would put on a
Right?
hell of a match. I mean,
Right?
that's Wrestle Kingdom main event right there. If there ever was one, given the current match of talent that we have.
And Yota Tsuji, Hiroka Goto. I mean, the possibility Shingo and Goto picking it up again. Shingo, Zack Sabre Jr. Again, a lot of potential towards the future of the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. It's just a matter of who's going to go into it at Wrestle Kingdom with it, who's going to come out with it at King of Pro Wrestling, and more importantly, who's going to seize it or hold on to it this Saturday at Destruction in Kobe. Either way, I think Destruction to come, but I also think further teasers are to come for the fall season of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Big things ahead.
Right. With Takeshita cashing in his opportunity at King of Pro Wrestling, do you think the breaking of tradition will become the new tradition for the upcoming G1 next year?
Honestly, with New Japan changing its entire outlook, I feel like it wouldn't surprise me if this does become the new thing. I mean, let's be honest here. Since the return of KO Pro Wrestling, it's been headlined now by the G1 Climax Champion and the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion versus defending the title and the right to challenge the title in the Tokyo Dome. They've literally rearranged the outlook of KOPW. And honestly, I missed that show because I always felt King of Pro Wrestling was the last big stop before Wrestle Kingdom, despite Power Struggle, which is to follow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing. Like, what there's so many different directions this IWGP Heavyweight title in the future of it can go into, and it just adds an unpredictability to it, which we haven't seen in quite some time now, haven't we?
Nah, not at all. Again, when Zack Sabre Jr. was humbled by Goto, he reminded Goto exactly how dangerous a wrestler he was when he nearly broke him in freaking half. And the referee basically saved Goto from himself because Goto refused to quit.
Yeah.
And
Oh
Zack Sabre
my.
Jr. has been nonstop on a rampage to remind people why he's the best damn wrestler on the planet. Technical only be damn, I'm the best wrestler on the planet. And now he's got
Right.
the gold again to prove it.
And who's to say that version of Zack Sabre Jr. we saw at Tanahashi Jam? Who's to say that's not going to come to play at Destruction in Kobe, especially when Narita was being an annoying thorn in his side with the random attacks and whatnot.
Dickhead. I'm about to say, I don't think Dickhead Zack Sabre Jr. is leaving us anytime soon. I think
Dude,
Narita just further infuriated it.
right. I love Dickhead Zack Sabre. That's my
Of course you
favorite
do.
Zack Sabre Jr.
Of course you do.
I mean, just because yes, Zach is a technical wrestler, but he is a violent technical wrestler. Like, sure, he can tie you up, but he can straight up hurt you if he wanted to, which is very scary in itself.
I'm kind of enjoy that type of stuff, though, personally. I'm all about human manipulation, but that's just me.
To each their own.
Exactly.
I'm looking forward to see how this show turns out, and as we slowly build to not just World Tag League, but possibly King of Pro Wrestling and Power Struggle as well, for like singles competitions and for what tag teams that we can come about. Because right now the tag team division is not looking so good on the surface, but when we went through the cards, there's quite a bit of tag teams we have here, don't we?
Yeah, those preview matches, they give some foresight towards maybe who can we see in the World Tag League or who can even be part of the heavyweight tag team division. Like we talked about, Shota Umino, Uemura, Sonata, Evil, from my mouth a little bit. If Goto comes back by some miracle, would he want Bishamon to once again go after the World Tag League, or would he go after the World Championship once again by himself? And will Yoshihashi honor that? You got knockout boys. You got, of course, Taiji and Tomohiro Ishii. If Ichiban Sweet Boys come back, they might try and go after the heavyweight titles versus junior heavyweights. Again, the hindsight's 2020. There's definitely a lot of potential here, I think. And I think we'll be very surprised what World Tag League will look like if it comes back for it. I don't see why it wouldn't.
Right. The possibilities are endless when it comes to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and it is in the, even though financially it's not doing well, but in terms of content, we are in such a good spot right now. But
Like,
it is a good time to be a New Japan Pro Wrestling fan.
simple as that.
Exactly. Oh my god! Thank you for coming on and discussing the show with me, Noah. Where can the good folks find you?
If people want to further engage with me, they can find me on the X and on YouTube and in Foster 1916. Whether I'm with you on shenanigans, with you here at Bad for Wrestling, this is where they need to subscribe. They'll subscribe. And I only wish to continue and encourage my projected love of wrestling too. And who knows? Maybe we'll cover King of Pro Wrestling as a watch along. I know this weekend we're preoccupied with other stuff. Glee. But King of Pro Wrestling is the next big show of the year, if not the last really big show of the year for New Japan's calendar. And I had a lot of fun, of course, covering the G1 Climax finals. So why not? Stay tuned, folks. Maybe I'll do a watch along of King of Pro Wrestling. And Ash, if you want to join me, I say let's do it.
Sounds like a plan. I'll let you guys know then. And if you guys want to continue this conversation, you can follow me at X the app, formerly known as Twitter, at ShadowBadAsh. Thank you guys for watching and have yourselves a good night.
Go get Sayonara. Bye bye. Thank you for tuning in.